maybe that's because I'm doing that with two hands. That is an accompaniment to an old Hoagie Carmichael tune that every third grader that can play a couple of tunes on the piano has tried at one time or another, heart and soul. I was doing that to illustrate the fact that stride piano, the left hand being a form of accompaniment that is exclusive to stride piano, is quite different from a lot of other styles. For example, ragtime. We've had a lot of YouTube viewers recently who have asked us to put on a video demonstrating, number one, the difference between ragtime and stride piano in the left hand, and also how to train your left hand or get your left hand in shape to play beginning and simple stride piano. Okay, now you noticed that what I was doing with both hands there, if I was playing stride piano and going to play the melody in the right hand, okay, that's what I was playing with both hands. Okay, now the left hand was doing what I was doing with two hands just a minute ago. Okay, and that is playing a low bass note followed by a chord in the middle register. When the chord changes in the piece, down to an A minor, up to an A minor chord, changes to a D minor chord, to a D minor chord, changes to a G7 chord, to a G7, and then back. Now what you have to do with stride piano, if you watch what my hand is doing there, the hand is stretched out pretty much as far as I could stretch it, and it's moving over the space of a tenth here so that I can reach this chord on the afterbeat and go back down to another bass note and reach this chord. We talked in another segment about the arc, where the hand makes an arc and coming across a stride piano. Well, if you're going to play the stride piano style, you need to gain flexibility in your left hand. And in order to gain flexibility in the left hand, it's like when you see a baseball player warm up in the batter's box. What's he doing? He's not holding the bat like he's going to swing at something and then practicing a swing. He's waving that bat or holding 3 or 4 bats and swinging them all around and getting flexibility into his hands and arms and shoulders. Okay, that's what we need to do in stride piano as opposed to ragtime, and I think we'll get into the ragtime versus stride piano in the next segment. But just to show you folks that are wondering how to get the left hand able to play the stride left hand, let's try a couple of simple exercises. Now, to get that going where you're going to be accurate, you want to be able to take this left hand and maneuver it throughout these 3 or 4 octaves very easily. A good way to do that is to develop an easy flexibility in the left hand. Take a tenth, take the interval of a tenth with a 1, a 5, and a 10, 1, 5, 10, 1, 5, 10, 1, 5, 10 in the key of C, and move it back and forth to get the hand used to that stretching. I used to call this the Dardanella left hand. An old tune called Dardanella, which used that a similar figure in the left hand. It's an old tune from like 1912, and but what it does do is it gets that left hand moving. One of the stride greats of all time, Willie the Lion Smith, was very emphatic about having flexibility and having the ability to move around in the left hand and not just play ragtime or not just play a simple chord bass. So one thing you want to do when starting in stride is take that 10th like that, rock it back and forth. See what I'm doing there? What I was doing with single notes there, I'm doing with a low note and a sixth, and a low note and a sixth. All these things help you stretch that hand out and let it be relaxed and flexible so that you can support what you're doing in the right hand. And there we go. That's stretching that left hand, using a little exercise to get it to where you can deal with what the stride bass needs to do.